This week we're going to show you all the other projects we worked on over the last year or so. Last week we showed you the spaceship progress. This year it's everything else. So we're starting with the Sugar Cube, which is a trailer that's now our workshop box trailer, and it was briefly a mini installation, a little immersive art piece that we took to every elementary school in Enid as a companion to Sugar High, the temporary immersive art installation that we did here in Enid last year with a team of artists. This is the precursor to Itinerant Immersive. This is what inspired the creation of this whole project, is Sugar High, that Romy Owens and I led with contributions from a bunch of artists from all over Oklahoma. It was great. It existed for 6 weeks and was an absolute blast. The first project that we filmed intentionally for doing these YouTube videos was this deck that we built for Jenny Scott outside her house, just outside Enid. She wanted something six-sided. She raises bees, and so we did this cool hexagonal design, this pair of them, with the Trex decking. They turned out great, and the view out there, especially in the evening, is just incredible. Jenny has such a cool house. We also did this piece for Jenny, this sculpture. We called it Catching Rays. These big curved arcs that have wisteria planted to grow up them now. These are made of cedar, actually cedar fence pickets that we laminated together and then cut into this big shape, these 6 big shapes, and connected with these big mortise and tenon joints. Corey and I did this before we had the ShopBot, so it was a lot of making templates and hand shaping. And then here's a little bit a year later when we went back to do just a touch up on here or there. Jenny had these chickens, and when Corey and I spent all this time out there, we really became close friends. Good friends with these chickens. This kitchen we built for my mom. This is next to her house and the workshop and Atelier, all on this property just east of downtown Enid. The pieces for this outdoor kitchen bar area came from our scrapyard just a few blocks away, and this is an offcut from like a plasma table. Moving this thing, getting it flipped up and down was dicey, but Corey and I managed to do it without actually like injuring ourselves. This mushroom here I made with a couple other parents for a production of Alice in Wonderland that all of our kids were in. My daughter Nora was a mouse, and Justin and Roger had kids in the show too. And we made this giant mushroom for the caterpillar to climb up on. It now sits on top of, a storm shelter here inside the workshop because it was just too cool to stash away in a warehouse somewhere. This is extruded polystyrene foam and wood and paint, and with some canvas that was stiffened with wood glue for the stock of it. It was weird, but a lot of fun. This cauldron I made for another theater production, this one for Macbeth. More of this extruded polystyrene. This was the first time I'd really done something this way, and thanks to Nick Bayer for giving me a lot of advice along the way as we were figuring it out. The entry to the property gets used all the time, and it just didn't look good, and this old garage door was kind of falling apart. So Corey and I tore down this whole front wall and reframed it with an opening for a garage door that was a couple feet wider and a couple feet taller, and added this facade made of irregular cedar and pine, knotty pine that we charred. It's a process that makes it weatherproof and rot-proof and great for something like this. We met this guy Verl while we were doing Jenny's project and ended up buying a bunch of lumber from him, and it was a blast. We had so much fun making this wall and hang out with Verl, and ended up having to mill down a bunch more cedar ourselves on the big bandsaw, and it was all a blast, and I really, really like how it turned out. We also got some of the best time lapses of clouds while we were putting this up. Just really am happy with the whole look of it, and almost a year on now, it still looks fantastic. Building out the office space was a huge project that kind of killed a good chunk of December, January, when we were waiting for some of the financing stuff to get put together for the spaceship, and so this office space as I sold my old office building and moved my law firm down here, and also the office for Itinerant. So we framed this out, wanted the high ceilings, reused windows that came off the manufactured home that's now the spaceship, and this office gets used constantly. I'm down here all the time. I'm down here recording this voiceover down here. All the video equipment's down here, and I'm still practicing law as little as I can get away with. The office build turned out really well and was one of those, we can do different things kind of videos as we were working on the spaceship. It was a series, and they've done pretty well here on YouTube. The pottery studio was built with leftover walls from Sugar High. Corey did this basically all himself while I was working on the office. And these are all wall panels that we built for Sugar High, and then when Sugar High came down, got stashed away for a while, and then we used a whole bunch of them here to build out the pottery studio at Atelier, the arts nonprofit that my mom and I set up a few years ago. The pottery clinic we actually just had down here over the last weekend went really well. It was great to have a bunch of people in there actually using all the equipment. We had somebody in here showing us how to use this kiln, and we try to grow things in a way that's sustainable and not rushed. So it's taken a little bit of time to get everything in there, but now that it's there, it works like a charm. I built these big canvases for Tox, who did the exterior of our spaceship and who I've worked with several times. Tox got commissioned to do some pieces for a car dealership, and I built 3 canvases, each of which were 14 feet long and I think 2.5 feet tall. I never stretched a canvas quite like that before, and it turned out real well. Yeah, there's 3 of the finished product there. This was recorded on a drive either to or from Wichita for some materials, and stop motion's just fun. So as we were getting ready for the insulating the spaceship, we built this little shed for this big air compressor that I found on Facebook, and then had to plumb it all in and wire it in, and also dropped it, and then of course had to do a little bit of repair. Nothing too bad, but this air compressor has been invaluable for insulating, but also for the ShopBot. Some other smaller projects we've done, this little audio rack for some equipment using these finger joints that I like doing a lot, and Baltic birch, which is a joy to work with. This cigar box we showed you a while back in a video that I did for an art thing, a fundraiser, a nonprofit fundraiser a while back. These panels that we hung up behind the ShopBot that you've seen in the background, a bunch of our videos originally came out of Sugar High. Tox did those as well. They sat in storage after Sugar High for a little bit, and we decided before we got the ShopBot in to put some up here and really be able to show off some of his work in these videos, and he was thrilled to see it, out of storage. So much of what we've been doing on the spaceship is really only possible because we invested in this big piece of equipment, this ShopBot, this CNC router with an automatic tool changer and a vacuum table and the whole shoot and match. And it's a phenomenal piece of equipment. Aaron from ShopBot came from North Carolina to install it and get it all set up for us and teach us a whole lot. And he was a lot of fun to work with. Then I made this bowstring truss that hangs over the ShopBot to support the vacuum hose. That also worked really well, and that video's done great on YouTube. You just never know. All this landscaping work outside the workshop is done for my mom, who actually lives down here and wanted to raise the level of her yard so she can get some more stuff to grow. The dirt down here, the ground, just hasn't been great. So we brought in a couple dump truck loads of good topsoil, raised the level, planted a bunch of clover, added this path using these aluminum walkboards that I found at the scrapyard. And then you'll see here in a little bit, we built a concrete pedestal for a Buddha statue that my mom wanted to install, so she has her own little shrine there. These walk paths have been awesome, especially as it got colder. Here's some of the clover sprouting using a little macro lens, but the clover turned out really well. It's so pretty, and I think more interesting than just grass. Nora, my daughter, helping us mix concrete for this big pedestal. that we actually designed the outside of the pedestal. I designed it in the ShopBot and cut all these patterns so you see the texture there actually cast into the concrete. Didn't hurt ourselves, and that's the most I can say about that. Here's the statue and the pedestal all finished. We do still have t-shirts for sale. I used to print t-shirts and sell them in a shop here in town. We have the equipment, and our itinerant immersive t-shirts are for sale on the website. Helps us, helps support us, helps spread the word. We'd appreciate any of that. This awesome welding table came from a friend's dad who was getting rid of a bunch of stuff. This thing's massive, and navigating it through the workshop, I'm not sure Corey even caught in the edit all the times I ran into stuff, but hey, listen, we got it in, and it's sure not going anywhere. We built the stage a while back for Atelier for the Arts nonprofit, and this year, I guess spring, fall, summer, we've got a lot of use out of it. Here's back when we built it. The stage is such a great place for live music, both some smaller singer-songwriter stuff, but now also we've done big full band concert here. It's awesome having a crowd out here. The art, the atmosphere, especially when the weather's nice. This is just my favorite place for a show. And yeah, maybe I'm a little partial, but wow, what an awesome place for a concert. This fence sculpture thing I made for one end of my mom's yard there was a great opportunity to do some more metal work, again with some stuff we found from the scrapyard. It's a great scrapyard. Everyone, if you're in our area in northwest Oklahoma, Cimarron Metal Scrapyard, great. This whole fence curve thing turned out really well, and we have some more of this material and have some more plans for it. We also had to have a swing because my kids love swings. This was another instance where, hey, none of us hurt ourselves, but it was a little dodgy. Adding this drain from the outdoor kitchen we built to this little maple tree just was a great way to, the little wash sink that's out there, reuse the water the maple tree, and not just have stuff go into a bucket. These little trophies we made for the Gaslight Theater, a local community theater here. They're little spotlights. I've done trophies a few times, and I think these turned out really well. They're really pretty. People loved them at the show. Here's my mosaic from 12 by 12, a fundraiser done every year by the Oklahoma Visual Arts Coalition. I've done a mosaic in it the last couple of years. It sold, it did well. I think it turned out really well. And Corey, our editor, who edited all this, also won a contest. Corey is here every day working hard, and we are so grateful to have him editing all these videos. One of our more recent videos, this big 10-foot tall wall for Nick Bayer that went to Gathering Place for part of their Halloween fall festival stuff. This was another thing that we couldn't have done without the ShopBot, and I think it turned out great. It was really pretty, and it was cool seeing it set up with Nick's work in front of it. What a great artist, Nick Bayer, who's working on our laboratory and worked with us on Sugar High. He's one of those people who, again, is just a joy to work with. Hi, Cat. Hey, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that, and we'll keep making interesting stuff.